Welcome to episode 43 of Are You Mad at Me? I'm Vickie Morgan.
And I'm Josh Morgan.
Welcome back, folks. And I am going to try something this week, just in case we have some people joining us for the very first time. We're going to start like you've never heard of us and you don't know who we are. Who's this in my ear holes right now is what you might be saying. So we are Vickie and Josh. Well, I'm Vickie.
And I'm Josh Morgan.
And so we do a whole bunch of stuff together. We have a band called Mulberry Creek, and that's like a folk country kind of thing that we've been doing for a long time. Probably, I think we started that probably around the pandemic, like the week the pandemic shut everything down. Maybe we had a gig before that. We started
doing stuff. Yeah, it was because it was in a different setup when we first started. But yeah, Mulberry Creek started
the band. I mean the band.
The band. Yeah.
The band. We had done a few gigs up until
yeah,
and then we started a radio show. And so we've been radio hosts, podcast hosts, TV hosts for a really long time.
6 years.
Yep. And we, so this podcast is about marketing and self-publishing. Not in that order. Self-publishing and marketing books, because we don't market everything. But, I mean, who knows? If you're into that, sometimes people follow and they're not publishing a book, but they incorporate some of the stuff we talk about.
Sure. Why not?
Marketing, of course, is anytime you tell anybody what you do and what you care about. And, you know, you don't know what kind of impact you're going to have on that. But if someone is aware of a service or a thing that you have that you sell and they didn't know about it before, that's marketing. So whether you're just talking really loud in a coffee shop and there's not even anybody on your phone, you can say, what's that? Oh, somebody needs their oil changed? Yeah, I can do that because I'm really good at that. That's marketing.
We haven't tried that yet, but we have talked about that a few times. Like the idea of just being in a public place and being like, I'd love to publish your book. Just follow me at Self Published NL on Facebook. And you know.
All you need to do is make sure your manuscript is finished and exactly the way you want it, and then you pass it on. It's
basically a commercial, a live commercial.
We should absolutely start doing those. We should do fake commercials where we're on fake phone calls, and then, and then people will be like, why is there a camera over there in the middle of Tim Hortons?
Yeah.
And we'd be kicked out pretty fast. We could do one in Sobeys, Dominion, Dollar Store.
Anywhere
Piper's,
you want to do a commercial, Tommy.
Anywhere you want to do a commercial, Tommy. We started the podcast over again, so we did a whole bunch of shout outs to people. But anyway, you missed it.
We were having some audio trouble.
If you weren't in our basement, then you missed the shout outs. But anyway, I do want to go back, and as though you're listening to this for the very first episode, and I'm kind of getting the feeling that might be true for a whole lot of people, because we put a call out for self-published authors to come on the podcast.
That's true. That's a good point.
And so there might be people going, what are they about? And so this is what we do. We talk every week. I talk about whoever I've made angry in my lifetime. And so that's the Are You Mad at Me segment.
Or who you think might be angry with you.
Maybe it's a friend who hasn't bought my book. Maybe it's someone who didn't invite me to the birthday party. Someone who, whatever. I don't know. It could be anything. And of course I have a whole bunch of like anxiety and all that kind of stuff, and like it's imposter syndrome. So I feel like everybody's mad at me most of the time. So that's why.
It's good to ask.
That's why we're in episode 43 and I still have material. So here we are.
Yeah.
But we do talk about self-publishing every month. And so just in case you don't know anything, let's pretend. So if you've listened to all the previous 42 episodes, this is the time to just skip forward. I'm going to talk about the books that we've published, if Josh wouldn't mind. We're up on really high stools.
We moved everything around because we're doing a new thing with the podcast coming up in the next few weeks. So things we're just moved it around because we're testing something out, and we figured, well, why not do a regular podcast?
Well,
like this and try it out.
So
and then all of the audio just completely crapped out, and then we had to start over.
Take that as a good sign. Yeah. The universe knows.
But we're back.
So we are coming up on Self-Publishing Month, which is October, and we have a bunch of events coming up for October, but we also have been working on making the podcast into a public access show for our American friends. And so what's basically going to happen is, if you live in, like, I use the same examples every week. Let's say you're a beekeeper, and let's say you're in Tennessee, and you come on and talk about your book about beekeeping, and you have been on our podcast, and we've put it on, like, so what we'll do is we'll record these half-hour episodes. We'll put it on PEG Media, which is this consortium of all the public access producers around the United States. We all put our shows in this database.
Library, yeah.
And all the stations around the country, and there's thousands, can access the shows. And so you can leave it so that they pay for the download of each episode. I think it's like 50 cents American, or the producers can cover the cost. So what we will do is, so let's say someone comes on and talks about their beekeeping book and they're in Tennessee. They come on, tell us about their process. We talk about their book. We leave a link in the description and all that stuff. And then that person in Tennessee emails their local Tennessee stations and says, hey, there's a show that's being produced by a couple of Americans that are living in Newfoundland. I was on an episode. Could you air these episodes? That's it. They can air all of them, or they can just air the episode that you were on. And that promotes your book and it promotes our podcast, and everybody wins. It's zero cost for anybody if you don't count your time. It's zero cost, but hopefully a few people find out about your book and about you, and people are a lot more inclined to buy your books when they know something about you. So that's why we're doing what we're doing.
So not only are we doing the regular podcast that's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Music, iHeartRadio, all the places. But we're also going to spread it out to these public access stations in the U.S. because it's just more free marketing. Because it's good for you, it's good for our work, it's good for the authors that are going to be getting interviewed and want to advertise for their own books.
So we have a phrase here in Newfoundland that we say, a rising tide raises all boats. And that might not be unique to Newfoundland, but it seems to be kind of here because Newfoundland can get a little bit tricky sometimes, a little bit of a crabs in the bucket kind of mentality sometimes. But there's a whole lot of good people here in Newfoundland also. And so there was like a whole theater company called Rising Tide based on that idea. So ideally, the time we put into this podcast is actually of benefit to us and to the people that we have on and to the people who are listening, because they might learn something. They might feel a little bit better about their artistic endeavors. Sometimes they don't go well. Sometimes you feel really bad, especially after you finish a project. You kind of bottom out. And so we share a lot of that journey. Yeah. Anyway, our self-publishing journey is thus. Our very first book came out, we published in 2018. It's called For the Grace of Joe. This beautiful artwork on the front was done by Stephen Hoke. You can check him out. He does a whole bunch of commissions. He owns a little farmette out in Portland, Oregon. And him and his wife, Kelly, are absolutely beautiful human beings. And we are headed out to see him very, very soon. We're going to come out and visit. So check Stephen Hoke Art out on Facebook and Instagram. So this book is about a baby that we lost 12 years ago, and his name was Joe. And Josh and I wrote this together. Josh has a chapter in here, and he helped me with the editing and produced the audiobook version. This was the first one we self-published. We knew nothing. We started off everything we had to Google over and over and over again, figuring out the ISBN, how to do the text interview, how to do the banking information, because it was a little scary when I first went on KDP. Being of a woman of a certain age, I was a little worried that it was like, maybe I'm on the wrong website and maybe it's not a secure page and whatever. And so got through all that, eventually and it was all stuff that stopped me in my tracks. It would be like, it's not worth it, I'm not going to publish. And then a few weeks would go by, and I just felt really called to publish my book. It just seemed like this book's supposed to exist. Maybe I need to look a little further into it. And so I learned everything from scratch doing that. And the formatting, it's a nightmare. I'll tell you, it's possible, but it is hard. I use Microsoft Word for formatting. It needs to be a certain way so that it goes within your margins and it's not publishing like in here in the spine. The book cover itself is a whole other project, and to get everything lined up, you don't need a graphic designer, but it helps.
There's templates.
Did I just drop something? Yep. So this is our very first foray into self-publishing. And I will also tell you that I put a lot of my mental health journey into this, a lot of personal stories and whatever, and I was afraid people would read it, which is kind of backwards. Like, I get that. And I was at a marketing thing with Hey Orca a few weeks back, and I said that, and the host was like, what? You didn't? And so, I ordered like 100 copies and gave them all away because I was afraid that if I asked my friends to buy it, that they wouldn't, and then I'd feel crushed. And it was a very personal story. So 5 years later, I did another book. This is called How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking, which is based on a TV show we made for a certain broadcaster here in Canada. And they hated it. And they said, we will pay you to never show this to anybody. And I said, you're kidding. You're actually telling me that my How to Fail documentary is failing. And they went, yep. And they did not have a sense of humor about it. But I did. And so my show never made it to the air. But the book was an instant bestseller. Not before it wasn't a bestseller. It was actually the world's worst seller. For the first few weeks when I put the paperback out, not a single copy. So I wrote a song called World's Worst Seller. And when the ebook came out on sometime that October, it was a bestseller. So here we go. So this is about...
And that was part of the process of learning how to... Not only how to get your book on KDP, Amazon KDP, but also to get people to see it and change things. You can change things. There was some of the stuff that you learned was strategies to get people to see your book and get more people to
absolutely. I mean,
get it in front of more people's
faces. It was
a
learning experience each time. And then when this one came out, I felt this kind of like crushing guilt that, okay, so this one's out and it's funny and I wanted to be a comedy writer and this was really like the next step in my creative journey. And I felt a whole lot of like mixed emotions because I didn't really market For the Grace of Joe because I was afraid people would read it. So the first thing I did with For the Grace of Joe is I went back and I changed all the names to the real names. Because when I did it first, I was so afraid that it would make people angry that I changed everybody's names. I had a list of like 30 or 40 names. The doctors, the genetic specialists, everybody. But I also changed the names of the really, really good people who were so kind to us.
Friends and family.
So I didn't get to thank them. So I went back, when my second book came out, I went back and changed and updated For the Grace of Joe. So all the real names are in here now, all the real thank yous, and all the real doctors and all the real midwives that, the yoga teachers that weren't that nice during this. The doctors who were like, you better terminate right away because this child's not going to be worth saving, or his quality of life is going to be so poor that, it'll be a drain on the resources of the state to have him. Those sorts of things that you're told when your baby is diagnosed with trisomy 13 in utero. Anyway, we lost Joe at 6.5 months, and it was an absolute nightmare. The mental health stuff that came after that, and then having a rainbow pregnancy right after that, was brutal. So anyway, we shared our journey, and so 5 years pass, and just leave it there. It wants to be on the ground. When this one came out, when How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking came out, I decided to ramp up the marketing efforts, and I didn't have a clue. So I started Googling, and I started using ChatGPT, and I started looking at YouTube videos of people that you can get 10,000 view or 10,000 sales. And like, no, you can't. I've increased my sales by 5s. I've doubled it from 2 to 4, but it's still momentum. And so
what was it? 2x your sales?
2x your sales. What, from 1 to 2? Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So the sales aren't I'm not making 6 figures, and I didn't leave a 9-to-5 corporate job. I am an artist. We are both artists, and we are gig to gig, and we don't know how we're paying for a sack of potatoes this week. So let's be honest about it. It's not glamorous, but we're happy.
Yeah.
For the most part. I think we're pretty happy.
We're happy.
So last summer, we came up with an idea that we were going to call October Self Publishing Month. Now, someone commented on one of my posts a couple of weeks ago and said, I can't find any evidence that this is a real thing. Well, I'll tell you, the evidence is in the latest book. I explain all of it. If she had just read the book, we wouldn't even be here, and I wouldn't be talking about her.
Marketing your self-published books.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So this is the third book that came out this year. We published this in July of this year, and the moment that I hit publish, up to that moment, this is everything that I knew about publishing, eBooks and paperbacks and how to market your books. The day after I published this, now this will tell you everything you need to know about the text interview, ISBNs, formatting.
How to get a book on KDP.
All of it. On KDP and Amazon and Audible and Kindle. Actually, not Audible. We haven't done an audiobook yet for that one. We haven't done the audiobook tutorial or bare bones guide.
Right.
The day after I published, I mean, I'm being dramatic. It might have been 3 days later, but I found out that
it was pretty soon.
You can go wide. So what that means is outside of Amazon, you can put it on Draft to Digital, you can put it on Ingram Spark, you can put it on BookBaby. There's a
Barnes
whole
& Noble
bunch.
in the U.S.
Turns out Barnes & Noble Press is the Barnes & Noble self-publishing site where you can put a book into Barnes & Noble. And if they approve your book on the website, and they will, because you can use the exact same files that you used on Amazon, you can actually do signings in Barnes & Noble. So, found that out.
They're print on demand just like KDP.
Exactly.
So somebody orders your book from somewhere in the U.S., Barnes & Noble prints one, sends it to them.
So now you can go through Ingram Spark, and they charge, I don't know if it's $50 or $75 American to put one book, one project on their website. Or you can go through Draft to Digital, and they'll put it through Ingram Spark for free. So, little workaround, little tip there. But also, Draft to Digital will also put your book into Overdrive, which is what the libraries use in the United States. So, if you've self-published a book, you can actually get in touch with your friend. Let's say a friend in Clarksville who has a public library card, goes to the library website, and recommends that they purchase a copy of your book. And thank you to the gentleman who did that for me last week.
Thanks,
so
Blaine.
There's a request in there for one of our books to be carried in the Tennessee Public Library. So these are little things that you don't need to worry about that when you're published by one of the big publishers because they handle all of it, but they also only give you 5% of your cover price.
Yeah, so when when you're self-publishing, you get the luxury of doing all that footwork yourself.
Yeah.
But you get to see how the sausage is made. Like
well,
you get to learn how to do it all.
But
and then
I mean, how many books do you have to? So okay, let's compare the numbers. Publishing house, 5 to 10% of your cover price is what you get in your pocket. And all these other people, all the editors, all the executive directors, all the marketing people, they all get a cut of your hard work. When you self-publish, you get between 30 and 90%, depending on the platforms, you get between 30 and 90% of your cover price. So, I don't know, I'm not a mathematician, or a statistician or a whatever, but I don't know. Those numbers seem pretty impressive to me.
Yeah.
So we published this book, instantly found out a whole bunch of other stuff. So, I mean, there could be a follow-up. I don't know. Anyway.
I did the cover on this one. I took the picture. I did the back. I did the spine.
Josh is a fantastic graphic designer, and he did the graphic design for these bare bones guides. These are just one topic per book. One is on paperbacks, one is on ebooks, and the other one is on marketing. This is for someone who says, I don't know where to start. I don't have any idea. So there's a bunch of stories in the marketing book, experiences that I've had, and then tips and tricks and little hints and suggestions of how you can market your self-published book. I think that's everything. Oh, I do want to talk about this one for just a moment. When we were going through this experience with Joe, when we had a baby diagnosed with trisomy 13 while I was still pregnant with him, it was a brutal experience. And so I was up all night long looking online, trying to find out as much as I could about trisomy 13, trying to find stories, because they say that your baby is basically dead right now. Let's just clean out that trash right away. That's actually not accurate. There's a whole lot of babies that survive, and there are a lot of them that don't make it.
So support groups are important for that.
Absolutely.
Situation.
And people who have also shared their story, because that's what you're looking for at 4:00 in the morning when you're looking for blogs and books and stories of babies that have made it and babies that have defied the odds. And it's not just about the baby surviving, it's about how the doctors treat you when you get that kind of a diagnosis. It is heartbreaking and demoralizing and dehumanizing. So one of the organizations that I'm the Atlantic Canadian chair for, SOFT. It's Support of Families with Trisomy. Support Organization for Trisomy is what, that's what it's called. So that was one of the organizations that had a whole bunch of parents on there who had been there. There was a lot of support and stories and all those things. It was one of the places that I found a lot of comfort when we were going through that experience. So I found out recently that the SOFT published a book with a guide. It was the first one they did was a guide for trisomy 18, which is very closely related to 13, but the outcomes are, the timeline of your life expectancy is a lot shorter. The health problems are a little more severe, but they're very closely related. So when they see markers with a pregnant woman with the baby, they have to figure out if it's 18 or 13 a lot. So anyway, they published a book called Trisomy 18, New and Expectant Parent Resource Guide. Okay, so they did 18. Then a few months later, they came out with this one, Trisomy 13. So this is basically a guide. It's very medical. It's very heavily, lot of clinical information here that you might not be able to listen to in the doctor's office because there's so much coming at you, you might not be able to take it. So this breaks it down a little bit, but it's still very, very clinical. And here's what I want to point out, because this is a self-publishing podcast. We are talking about marketing, and
design is a part of it.
Design is a part of it, and also it's called Are You Mad at Me? And so I had to get in touch with Soft and say, guys, are you mad at me? Because I don't know if you can see this on here, but if you're just listening, I'm holding up two books that are virtually identical. There's mine with the original artwork by Stephen Hoke, and then there's this Trisomy 13 New and Expectant Parent Resource Guide from Soft. No, I did not pose for the painting when Stephen Hoke did it for me, but these are pretty similar. So I got in touch with Soft and I said, dudes, what are you doing to me here? And the answer was, the image for trisomy, it was a load, but it was something about the image of a pregnant woman is basically free range, and we certainly didn't copy your artwork, and this is just this, everybody is a symbol. We just know that this is a symbol for whatever. It's not the symbol for anything. A teddy bear with a Band-Aid on it is a sign for abuse. Like, that's the international sign for abused kids. There is no international symbol for trisomy 13 or trisomy 18. And the silhouette of a pregnant woman from that angle, from the side, I mean, whatever. But both great resources. I did talk about it a few weeks ago.
I wanted to look. I just noticed this is also self-published on KDP.
Yeah.
So they did this the same way we did.
So they published theirs to distribute to hospitals and clinics, so that they would have something to hand to parents. But they did put it on Amazon, and it was on the Soft website. So that's why we. I
gotta say, it's amazing though to, like, in the groups that we're talking about on Facebook, and a book like this that shows like a lot of kids,
a lot of
trisomy
living
13
babies,
and the like, if you haven't read For the Grace of Joe yet, it's a lot of it is about doctors that are just like, we're not going to do anything for you because there's no reason to, because this baby doesn't have any kind of a quality of life, and no life expectancy. Like, but it just seems like you get trisomy 13 as a diagnosis, and it's like, all right, you're done. Yeah. But then there's all these kids that are out there in the world and happy families, and like it's really interesting to see.
Tell those families that those babies weren't worth saving.
Yeah.
Now and I will also say this is not an ad for a pro-life or for abortion or anything, but I will tell you that one of the things that saved my mental health is that I had a choice. I felt like I was doing something for my baby because I had a choice. If someone told me I had to do something, I don't know that I would have survived it myself. And I can also tell you from the grief support groups that I have been a part of, women who decide, the families who choose to terminate as soon as they get the diagnosis, and the women who carry to term, at the end of the day, we were just as messed up. It's just as traumatizing. Virtually no difference between the women who terminated and the women who didn't. It was exactly the same loss. It was exactly the same feelings. Everything was identical, and they had maybe the added layer of, well, this person didn't get an abortion, so, but it worked out to be exactly the same loss, and we went through the same grief, the same stages, the same horrible experience, the same marriage trouble, the same friend reactions, because people, a lot of them were, I feel like we're going down that path of trisomy, and I am planning on doing some episodes in March when it's Trisomy Awareness Month, and we will come back to that. So my self-publishing journey started with
For the Grace of Joe.
For the Grace of Joe. It was, I wanted to be a writer, and it was the story that was on my heart at the time, and so that's what I published. And we knew nothing. We knew absolutely nothing about the publishing process. We learned it all from scratch. The second time we did it, it was a little tiny bit easier. And then when the second one came out and hit bestseller, I started doing a little bit more with For the Grace of Joe, and I changed the categories on Amazon, and it started bumping up in the sales ranking, which is
one of the things in the marketing sections of those books that you can do to increase your sales, to get it in front of more people, to you can get a little thing that says it's a bestseller in this category, and then you can change it to a different category, and it's good. It's good.
And you can change what's called your long tail keywords. So if you go onto Amazon and say, I'm trying to start a new career and I'm 50, is there any books out there for, like, you can put in over 50, starting over, female. And you can put that actually in your searchable words for your book description, so that if somebody is going on there, and it can be ridiculous. It can be, my mother wasn't very, mother-in-laws who interfere after a loss, or my mother-in-law sent me flowers on Mother's Day from my dead baby. Whatever your experience is, but that's long-tail keywords, and that's also a good way to get, to send traffic your way to your book, which we didn't know anything.
Basically, what anybody would be searching to look for information.
And we didn't know that till we started going down that rabbit hole, because it's not... one of my books was rejected by a bookstore because... I don't remember which one it was. It was one of the bigger ones. And it was rejected because it was they said, a lot of publicly available information. And it was just put in a book, because apparently a lot of people did guides to self-publishing. Now, the really funny thing is they carry my ebook and
and the bare bones books
is exactly the same stuff. So
there you go.
So last year, in an effort to market the first two books, this was before anything happened with the third book. In an effort to promote our own books, we came up with the idea to do Self-Publishing Month, which is the month of October,
which didn't exist. We started Self-Published NL. We started the Facebook page that summer, and then coming up, and I was like, I still haven't really done any marketing for those books. And I said, well, if there was an excuse, if there was some umbrella I could walk out under and say, look, the book is not about the topic. It's that it's self-published, and I felt like I could have a little shield of armor where it was like some kind of validation, some kind
of ticket to get in and say, look, here's why I'm marketing this book, because it still felt really fake and just imposter syndrome. It was just, I couldn't possibly tell someone about the book because it's about my mental health, or, it was this embarrassing thing where I fell on my face when I tried to make this documentary series, which was supposed to be a comedy series. Anyway, so Self-Publishing Month became an excuse for me to do hashtag Self-Publish Month, and I would post every single day about what was going on, some of our journey. We'd publish links to the books. And what happened was the bookstores, I would call bookstores here locally and say, hey, could I come in for a signing? It's during Self-Publish Month. And they were like, oh yeah, we're big supporters of Self-Publish Month. That's great. It didn't exist. I just did a Google search, and nothing existed for self-publishing at all. So I was like, well, we should have one. And that's it. That's what happens with hashtags, is you start one, and if people start sharing it and buy into it, it's a real thing. So this year, what we did last year is my book sales went through the roof. I mean, there was weeks that I went from 2 one week to the following week there was 3. And sometimes I think there was another week that I had another 2. It was, I mean, I couldn't keep up.
The roof is kind of low.
I mean, I'm pretty short.
We had to bend over.
Yeah. But we went from 0 sales to a couple every weekend. And I mean,
it was revving it back up. It was getting momentum. And yeah.
So if you're getting into self-publishing, or if you're thinking about writing a book to be a millionaire, I mean, it happens, but it's kind of rare. And we're all about rare and lottery and all that stuff in our lives. But it more people. So every time I published a signing event, there were more people on Facebook or on social media that knew I wrote a book. And so those were folks that didn't know I wrote a book. And so maybe they didn't buy a copy, but they know. And so when they have ideas for their book, they're more inclined to get in touch and say, how did you do yours? Let me show you. So that's kind of how that all happened. And so last year, Self Publishing Month had signings, and we started our very first open book event, which involved basically self-published writers. We got a little space in a bar downtown, and we had a bunch of self-published authors come out and read from their books or their works in progress. It went phenomenally.
It was really great.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And so this year
we have 10 or 11? There
was 11, and we had 4 couldn't make it on the day, so it would have been 15 altogether. Yeah. But it was packed from front to what did you call it? Stacked lineup. It was full, and we had a lot of people came out and just listened. And there were some people who were traditionally published who wanted to know about self-publishing, so they came out too. So this year we decided to go a little bit bigger, and we found a venue that's accessible. And so this year's open book is going to be at the Provincial Arts and Culture Center, which is
here
pretty
in St.
fantastic.
John's.
Here in St. John's. We're pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
And so there's a sign up. You have to get in touch with us and let us know that you want to be there, and then we'll let you know. That's not registered. So maybe we can talk about our Are You Mad at Me segment in a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But it is, that's coming up October 26th at the Arts and Culture Center. And we also have a couple of workshops going on at the Newfoundland Public Library, the A.C. Hunter Library.
Which is the same building.
Yes, but it's a separate thing. And they're both being very, very, very supportive of what we're doing. They are having us in to do workshops where we're going to talk about paperbacks, ebooks, audiobooks, podcasting. All of it. We'll show you how to set up your gear. We'll show you how to do an audiobook and a podcast. It's going to be fantastic. And it's going to be basic, and you come in. It's a boot camp. You come in and find out everything you need to know. The first one's on October 11th, and the next one is 21st. On the 21st of October. And then we have a bookstore thing. The final thing is on the 25th of October, we have a deal with a local bookstore in the Avalon Mall where we're going to have a day dedicated to self-published authors. And so you're going to see Cavell Caravan, you're going to see Michael Boyle, you're going to see Tina Madigan, you're going to see Ida Young.
Vickie Morgan.
I know, pretty fancy. But we're very excited about that. And we also have Chris Ryan is going to be there. And Christian Leonard is going to be there. And I'm trying to remember, there was other people. Aaron Snow is coming out. I know I'm forgetting people.
We got a whole list.
There's a whole bunch, and so those folks are going to be at the signing at the Avalon Mall on the 25th, and on the 26th you can come out and hear all these writers read from their published works. And there's nothing. It's going to a songwriter circle. There's nothing better than listening to somebody read their own words the way they intended them. And so we're really pumped about Self-Publishing Month. It's going to be 2025. It's going to be amazing. So we're back to grassroots today. We got the studio all turned around so we can do some remote interviews. And Josh just had to change the camera because our OBS stopped working.
Yeah. Weird.
So our intention is really to give as much tips and tricks as we can every single month. And we're really, every single week. And we're really happy when people join us and send us comments and let us know what you're working on and ask us questions and tell us what's going on in your life. And, keep us in the loop. You were telling me about someone that you follow on social media, and it was I thought it was a great story. Who was it? Who was it you were telling me about?
So, there's a guy that I follow on TikTok that, he does a lot of like these, atheist response videos. So like, there'll be like somebody that's like, hey, I'm a Christian and I want to ask an atheist a question. And he'll butt in with his video and be like, okay, I'll answer. And like he's, answers point by point, and he's very smiley and happy and friendly and whatever. And it's pretty good. It's just like a lot of like, this is why atheists are atheists, and this is what we don't believe, and this is whatever. It's a good channel. Altar of Absurdity, I think, is the name of the channel.
Okay.
So anyway, the guy used to be a Mormon. He grew up Mormon. He was a Mormon until he was in his 30s, and he even went over to like Europe and preached, did his mission work and stuff. I think that's where he met his wife, and they got married, and she was Mormon too. And when he was in his 30s, he discovered that he was an atheist. He started doing more research and had a lot more questions and answers, and was like, yeah, this doesn't work for me anymore. And apparently his wife didn't have the same ideas.
Calling.
Yeah, calling to atheism. But they instead of getting divorced or leaving the Mormon
that's
church,
part of that religion, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they're real
yeah.
family oriented, and like you need to stay together, stay with the church till the end, all that stuff.
You stay with the church together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they started a podcast, and I don't remember what it was called. I just saw the video today, and he started a podcast with his wife about interfaith relationships and like them living together, being married, having kids. And she's a Mormon and he's an atheist. And it was apparently pretty huge for them. Like they met a lot of people in like-minded, similar situations. And he said like all their friends are, from the podcast, basically like from, they've met through the podcast. And it was really interesting. Like we were talking about how marketing, podcasting is a great way to market.
Yeah.
It's
also a way to build a community. And I love, my favorite part of that story is that their friends are coming from the podcast listeners.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful because there's nothing more authentic than, Facebook is one of those things where you're not really putting your real self out there. It's just a highlight reel. But podcasting, it's live to tape usually, and unless you do some heavy editing, it's pretty real. So if someone let's say, I don't know, your mother-in-law's watching to see how your relationship is going, and it's like, oh, did you see that? Vickie just was grinding her teeth while he was speaking, or, oh, he didn't, he touched her shoulder when she was saying that. If you want to, this is an intimate look into our lives. This is how it is, and we're real. And so it's a really great way to say, this is a chance to get to know us. And if you like us after listening to our podcast and you want our consultation services, after watching the podcast, you're also going to find out that Vickie's a little this or Josh is a little this way or whatever. And you get to decide. You don't have to call us. It's
maybe
great.
I don't want to work with those people. Or maybe they seem like experts. And I do want to work
There's
with them.
that. So it's a way to figure out who, you get to decide. We're on display. We're sharing who we are. And it's a great way to, if you don't value your time, at all, if it's at $0 and your time is not you're not billable hours, then doing a podcast is the best way into people's homes.
Yeah.
I got that from Jenna Kuchar, and she talks about how she has grown her business exponentially. We're not there yet, but it grows because people get to know her, and it's when her hair is messy and when she's addicted to coffee and when she can't start the day without a Mr. Big Bar or whatever it is. It's going to identify, you're going to find your people, you're going to find your tribe, and it's a great way to do that. And so I really, if the learning curve is you need to learn a little bit, and then once you hit the ground, once you start trying it, your first one is you're going to cringe. I promise you, when you look back at your first episode, you're going to cringe. If you're not cringing at your early art, you're not improving. Yeah. And so, but you have to start somewhere, and sharing it and getting feedback is the very best. It's positive feedback, obviously. I don't want to hear from people who don't like what we're doing.
I mean, if it's we did a few episodes where we were playing Fortnite.
Huge mistake.
And somebody was like, well, I can't as much as I tried to regulate the audio so you could still hear that we were playing a game, but also hear us talking. For the people that were just listening and couldn't see that we were playing a video game, it was distracting and hard to listen to.
Now, I will say that I wanted to have the sound turned down all the way. But Josh said, if I was watching this, I would want to hear some of the sounds.
My thought was if you were just listening, it would sound like, why are these people so distracted? Why aren't they talking? You know what I mean? And if you could hear, there's a video game being played. It's like, oh yeah, there's somebody shooting at them or whatever, they're starting a new match. And
we're learning as we go. And so if you go back to the very first early episodes, you will hear us talking about starting a Shopify.
Yeah.
It did not work out. It was like some kind of a deal that you get free for the first 3 months or something like that. And I was like, this is great. I knew nothing about it. The learning curve was massive. I had no idea. So I spent many days and many nights figuring out how to set up the e-commerce website and put all these plugins.
It was a lot of work.
It was so much. And then it was like, it'll be fine. By the time the payments kick in, I'll only need to sell 13 books just to cover the price of Shopify a month. And then I got to it and it was like, wait, what? And so Shopify didn't work out. And so with little things like that, we started our own website. And I found out there's a whole chunk of episodes where I complain a lot about Facebook, but I'm starting to figure out how to make Facebook work.
Yeah.
I found out that you can put your books on a shop on Facebook completely for free. And you can do a post and without an ad or anything. You can do a post, and if it has a picture, like, you can tag anything, but you can tag a product in your posts on your author page.
And Instagram is the same way. Like, you know how
They're
can
linked.
you
They're
can tag,
basically the same company.
But in Instagram, it shows up a little bit differently because, like, you know, when you tag a person in a photo, it comes up with a little person tag icon. But sometimes there'll be like a little shopping bag icon, and you can click on the thing, and it'll be like, this pair of pants is for sale at this link or whatever. But that's the shop. You can have your own stuff for sale on
you can boost stuff as well,
Instagram.
But it's a free listing. And so if somebody goes on Vickie Morgan Author, for example, there's a shop, and it'll tell you. So not only you can put in multiple links. So I have, like, For the Grace of Joe is available on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, Audible, Apple, Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Nook, Kobo, Books A Million. It's on Overdrive for libraries. But I can put a separate link for every single version. They're all the same book, but like for every
wherever you want to buy it.
So if I want to put if I want to put a post on tomorrow and say, "Hey, my book is available on a Nook device," I can tag so that link goes directly to the Nook page, so you can buy it from there. So it's just, and I'm also, here's a little tip for Facebook as well that I found. I don't remember where I even heard it, but a couple of weeks ago, I played a brand new song that I wrote on the podcast. It's called "Write to Joe." And I don't know how many people heard it. A couple of people got in touch and said they liked it. And so I'm kind of having this midlife crisis. I had a 30-year high school reunion a month ago, and I've been going through it. Like, I'm really feeling like older, and my birthday's in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be 48. So I'm really starting to feel that pull of, okay, not that I'm running out of time, but like my prime years, like I'm in my prime.
Nobody watching believes that you're going to be 48.
Well, I'm glad that there's one person in this room that thinks that. So I have been kind of reevaluating. I talked about cleaning out the cupboard. I cleaned out the whole house. It was like, all right, I need to take this serious. I need to take myself seriously. And so where am I going with that? So I put a song on. I published, so we recorded it, and Josh put the mic in front of me, and it was just an acoustic song, and I sang it into this really nice, these are really nice mics, by the way.
Was it 2 episodes back?
I think so. And so Josh cut the clip out for me from the podcast, and it had good sound. I mean, as good as I could possibly sound. It was certainly not any...
It sounded good.
It sounded good, like in a room for an acoustic song. It's the best my voice would sound. It's as good as it gets. And so I decided to post it on Facebook. I know.
Does that feel better?
Not at all.
Stop it.
It's too far. But I posted it on Facebook. And so right now, my friend count on Facebook, I actually did a big cleaning a little while back of my Facebook friends list, because there was a whole bunch of people on there. I have no idea how they got on there. I don't know how we connected. And there was a bunch of people that have been around since my childhood that haven't interacted with anything in my life. Children, books, stories, songs, doesn't matter. They're just watching from the sidelines. And I just got kind of tired of it. So I just delete. And guess what happened? Nothing. Not one single person got in touch and said, "Hey, we're not friends anymore," because they didn't even notice.
Right.
Not a factor.
Well, yeah.
My presence, my lack of my presence is the present that I'm giving to them for the rest of their lives. Anyway, right now the count on Facebook is 932 people that I'm still connected with. I mean, I'm in my late 40s, so that's a pretty
big number.
normal
I think
number.
I got 200 people on my Facebook friends list.
So, of those 932 people, the last time I checked, the song had 718 views, and I did not share it publicly. It was just for my friends list. And so I think we're getting close to that number where just about everybody on my friends list has probably heard it by now, and the comments have been beautiful, absolutely beautiful,
really
and
nice,
appreciative and encouraging. And
thanks to everybody that engages on there.
So here's the thing about it. Here's what I found out about Facebook posts. So if you have, like, let's say there's 30 posts or 30 or 40 or 50 comments on there, whatever. Here's how to get your post to be to show up in the algorithm again in other folks' feeds that maybe did not see it the first time. You go to the very first comment and you engage. You put a reaction on there. Likes are less than loves, the hearts. Or you could be angry too, but the more powerful emotions show up a little bit better in the algorithm. And reply to the comments. Reply to other people's comments, and it will show up in the feed. It puts it through the cycle all over again. So if you end up with 30 comments, if you go in, say, every 12 hours, maybe every day, and comment on somebody's comment, it shows up in the feed again. So it recycles your content. So instead of paying to boost the post or, thanking everybody all at once or whatever, you can really have it play out so that it shows up in the new feed. And so I hope it's not showing up in everybody's feed over and over again, but it is showing up in people's feed because the algorithm says, hey, this is a post that's getting some engagement. People are interested in it. There's activity on there, and it will show up in other people's algorithms. So that's a little trick. I was very angry at Facebook for a long time because it felt like I was talking into the void. And the first step was clear out the people that are making it echo. And, it kind of gleaned down. Because I know people come up to me sometimes and they'll say, I'm following everything you're doing on Facebook. I don't comment, but I love what you're doing. Like, okay, thank you. I mean, I'm at least I'm aware of it. But there's other folks that, I've been on Facebook now for 16 years, and there's some people childhood friends that haven't heard from them in years.
Yeah.
So, and it's pretty easy right now to say happy birthday to someone. Like, you get a notification and it says, hey, it's Josh Morgan's birthday today, and you have to choose to scroll past it. So, I mean, there's really no reason to be unsocial or antisocial on there. It makes it so easy for you to engage and be kind to people.
The stuff that comes up in your Facebook feed that's like a suggestion that you should follow, or like not somebody that you should follow, or not a page that you should follow, just not somebody that you already follow, but somebody that they're suggesting that you follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you said something about something coming up in everybody's feed all the time, like over and over. I don't know what it is. For the past maybe month, there's this article, and I don't know what page it's on, but it's the same headline, it's the same picture, it's the same article as far as I can tell. And it's like, millennials don't want to open a bar tab, and here's why. And I literally see that twice a week. I'm like, I haven't engaged with this headline, with this link. I don't follow this page. Why do you keep showing me this article about millennial? I don't drink. I don't go to bars. I'm not a millennial. Why are you showing me this? It's like I don't have anything else like that, but like, I could probably pull up my Facebook right now and scroll for a minute and find that
it'll
be in my feed.
I think it'll be funny to see how many people's it shows up for now in their feed because they're listening to the podcast.
Because millennials don't want to open up a bar tab, and here's why.
So you can say not interested on those.
Yeah, I kind of get a kick out of it at this point. I'm like, it just keeps showing up.
Man, I'm sorry for your frustration there.
One thing that we have touched on for our new listeners, but you haven't talked about really much, is that we, through all the jigs and reels of learning how to self-publish your own books and do graphic design and do formatting and get them on different platforms.
Setting up your profiles.
For the past few years, we've been doing it for other people. Mm-hmm. Like, not doing the whole process. We're not a publishing company, but consultations where like, here's all the stuff that needs to happen for you to self-publish your book because you've never done it before. You can do all of it if you want. You can do some of it and we'll do the rest of it. You can hire other people to do some of it. Like, and then it's been a lot of fun to help several other local authors to get their books, not only get them published, but get them in bookstores and get them on bestseller lists. And like, I think that's really
we've
fun.
been really lucky, I think, with the clients that they end up with bestsellers. So that's not guaranteed results. I cannot promise you that. But
it has happened every time so far.
They've done really well. Because I think there's a part of it that is, I had a producer, a music producer years ago, and he said 90% of my job is psychological, where I'm just encouraging somebody, I'm mopping them up off the floor and telling them that they can do it and they should do it. And it really ends up being that as a consultant as well. So it's expensive, but it's worth it. Because otherwise you're working in a silo, you're up by yourself doing all the research. And it's really nice to have somebody to say, your book is worthwhile, your voice matters.
And also to have somebody that's like, yeah, no, I've done this before and here's what you do. Or
yeah,
I can take care of that for you if you want.
Or yeah, I ran into that problem. Or yeah, that happened to me.
Because that's what I go on Reddit for. Like, I'm having this problem with this piece of software. Why isn't it working? And there'll be 15 other people that had the exact same problem. It's like, oh, thanks. You know,
super. It's a community. Yeah. So I have had a few folks ask about us publishing for them, and I have absolutely zero interest in being a publisher. I don't want to be the person that decides whether your book should be published or not. If you wrote a book and you want to publish it, that's your answer right there. I have no interest in. Also, I have zero interest in taking the responsibility of what you publish. So if you're going to publish a book about, let's say your ex-husband wasn't very nice and you want to really go after his family, or you really want to tell how bad it was, and that's a legitimate feeling that happens to a lot of people. I'm not going to put my name on that. I'm not going to have Jim Walsh come back after me and say, your publishing house published this book for my ex-wife, and I didn't do those things, or I didn't give her those diseases, or I didn't do that, whatever. I don't have that problem, addiction.
I guess the publishers would have to deal with lawyers, wouldn't they?
Oh my God, the liability is astronomical. But when you self-publish, then they're coming after you, and that's up to you. And there's easy workarounds. If you want to write a book about your ex-husband, first of all, there are limericks. You could write a book of limericks. You could draw pictures with anatomically incorrect, whatever. You can do whatever you want, but there's ways around stuff that you can change names. You can call it a work of fiction if you want. Yeah. Call it fiction. Anyway, so that's why I'm not a publisher, because I'm responsible for the books that I put out. I know what's in there. I know what I'm comfortable with. I know who I'm comfortable with the people that I do make mad.
You've come to terms with
I know what I wrote. I'm not even I don't even, but
and they know what they did.
Well, they did, and they can write their own books. That's just it. If you wanted to be written about nicer, then you should have acted nicer. So my books are not exactly they're not going to, I don't think there's any pastors or any clergy going to pick up my book and recommend it to people. And that's okay. But they're real stories, and I connect with real people through my books, and people that reach out and say, I felt seen, I felt heard, I cried, I laughed, or whatever. That matters a lot to me. And I feel like this is my gift is that I get to share my thoughts and feelings. And it's one of those things that when something bad is going on in my life, knowing in the back of my mind, this is going to be a comedy set, a song, a book. This
is going to be great material.
A podcast. It's all material. And it helps me get through. And then sometimes only the moment that it comes out on the podcast do I finally feel better. But it's eventually, it does feel better. And now I'm trauma dumping on you guys. And now it's your problem. Your load to bear.
And that's why you should get your own podcast.
Get your own podcast. We'll help you. So here's our list of services. If you've never heard of us ever before, you can record a podcast. We'll show you what gear to use. You can do it in your basement. You can do it over Zoom, and you can send us the files. Josh will polish it up, put it the way it needs to be. He'll even put it on your podcast website.
Hear how nice this one sounds.
And generate the RSS feed and do all the distribution for you. I mean, is it free? Absolutely not. You can do it for yourself for free, but if you're going to engage somebody else that knows what they're doing, it's going to cost you. Not too much, and we're very open to barters. This is the thing. Right now, for example, if you have an RV sitting in your driveway and we need one and you're not using it, we'll do your podcast for free. We'll do your book for free. Just give us an RV. That's all. Or a car. We'll take a car.
Yeah.
We'll take a Coleman stove. I really would like to have one of those cozies, like a little tea set, with the little teapot that stays warm for a really long time, so I can have multiple cups.
I'm a little hungry. I could go for some Five Guys.
So send us a gift card for pizza. Send us a pizza. Whatever. We are open to barters because your time and your ideas and your heart are very valuable. And when we meet people who recognize that in us, it lights us up as well. And it's a very beautiful exchange that happens. And so this podcast has opened us up to a whole new world of people. We've got friends right now all around the country. Lots of places that we've lived and visited, and we've left friends behind, and we're so excited to go back and visit them. And the things that we're doing, I didn't dream when we started episode 1 that this podcast would open those doors.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah.
So Self-Publishing Month is taken off. The next one is going to be a provincial tour, and hopefully the one after that will be a Canadian tour where we go to towns, roll into town, of course, doing our marketing well in advance. We roll into town, and then the folks in that town know there's going to be an open book event. Where you can come out and read your books, and we'll host it at a little library or a little cafe, and they can, who are these people that are coming into town? We can just go listen to their podcasts and get to know them, and they figure out whether they like us or not. We come with beagles, for example. So if you don't like beagles, you might not want to come in our RV. Well, it's not even, it's not my RV, it's your RV that you're letting us use. I mean, I don't mean to get too familiar. We'll clean it up, and the dogs are really great, I promise. But there's lots of ways you can do things, and where there's a will, there's a way. And I think it's really important for people to listen to stuff like that. Listen to my words. If you walk away with nothing else from this podcast, your voice matters and your story matters. And there's room for it. There is libraries around the world filled with people who wrote their books, and there's room for yours because they get rid of old stock.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If everybody had yes, your book matters. Yes, your story matters. It belongs on the shelf. Yeah. Publish.
That sounds like your final thoughts.
No, I still got a ton left.
Do you? Okay.
No, not really. I'm just kidding. This has been great. I'm really excited. And so I am right now in the process of, because it falls under the umbrella of self-publishing, we, of course, have produced our first EP. Do I have that here? There is a Mulberry Creek EP, there's one over there, that you can get on Bandcamp. And so if you're looking for ways to support us, like you can go buy the books, you can sponsor the podcast, you can give us an RV. We don't even need to keep it. I don't have anywhere to park an
Get
RV.
in touch and we'll tell you how to order one of Vickie's books at your own library in your own town.
Yes, and all of our books are available on literally all the platforms. So we're everywhere. And what was the other thing? I feel like there was something else. If you want to come out to Self-Published Month. And so we're starting off here in Newfoundland. We're perfecting it here in Newfoundland, and then we're taking it on the road. And so my project right now, because I like to have, even though October isn't even started yet, I'm already having anxiety about the end of the month when all the events are over. So I'm working on the next project. And my next project, based on the song that I wrote, based on this beautiful human being that came into my life when I was in high school and breezed through again at the reunion. Anyway, I wrote a song, shared it on the podcast. You'll have to go back a couple of episodes and find that one. But I got an idea for a musical based on that song. And so that's what I'm working on right now. Is I'm working on a fiction novel and a musical and a whole bunch of stuff that came from that, stuff. And a whole, like, a tour, and there's just a bunch of stuff coming from it, and I'm really excited about it because it was just, when that creative door opens, like, it matters when you're nice to people, and you really never know what it's going to mean to somebody. And you're going to have to go back, and I think it might be 3 episodes back where I shared what happened at the reunion, and I just had this moment that was like, my brain opened up. I mean, I was just split wide open, and there's no putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. I can't go back to before that moment. And so clean out the cupboards. Seriously, I cleaned out the whole house, and I'm so excited about life.
We got a lot of really fun stuff happening.
And creativity and expressing things and playing around with fiction ideas and, living in La La Land and playing around and writing for the therapeutic value. And just because it's fun is it just opened me up. And of course, I mean, I think it's good that I got that. I got here before I turned 48. That's the big milestone, I guess.
There you go.
If you haven't done it by 48, then you probably do it by the time you're 49 or maybe 79.
There's
always time. I think that's what I'm really learning too. But the 30-year reunion was hard because it's like that math has to be wrong, right? Mm-hmm. There's no way it's been 30 years since we were in high school.
I'm still 25.
I feel 25 most of the time. But it is but I think there's something that comes with this age as well where you stop caring so much. Like, yes, it feels a little bit silly when I think about making up a book or putting a play. I mean, we've acted and stage managed, and we've done lights and sound, we've done promotions and marketing, and I wrote a musical last year, and I just went, oh, that's stupid. I'm not ever showing that. But I feel like, why? Because I had images in my mind of like, well, if that person never saw that, they'd be like, you made this up? This is what you think about? And it's like, what? So I'm not going to do it because I think of 1 or 2 people that might criticize what I'm going to write.
Right.
Like, what a waste of a life.
You got to tell them voices in your head just to shut up.
And then I think there's something about being friends with people that you think are really cool. Like, there's something about that. And I know everybody's equal and no one's above or below, but there are people that I find very, very cool who have just in the last few months said the nicest things to me. And I'm going, wait, well, I think that person's really cool, and they're telling me they think I'm cool, and they think I'm talented. Like, I know I shouldn't rest on other people's opinions of me, but if people I think are cool are telling me to go for it, what else do I need?
That's it.
Like, that's armor. That's like, that's my shield saying, look, this person, I don't know if you're aware or not who I'm friends with, but they think I'm cool, and that means your little piddly opinions don't even matter, and you can't get near me. So I think it's like a beautiful. You don't know what it means to somebody sometimes. You have no way of knowing what somebody's going through in their life. That your kind word could mean the world to them. Yep. It could make the difference between living a happily ever after or taking a long walk on a short pier. Yeah. Like, it really is. That's how close some people are, hanging by a thread some days, and your kindness could just make such a big difference. So anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox.
So that's episode 43.
That's episode 43 of Are You Mad at Me? And thank you for listening. And again, hold on before we go. I just want to bring this back to it just so nobody forgets. We are the #1 podcast in self-publishing in all of Canada.
Yay.
So there you go. Just between us, there's not a whole lot of competition for that category, so it's not really that big of a deal. And I did buy that trophy myself, but that is what I'm putting on my resume and what I'm putting on, my LinkedIn profile and stuff like that. Like, because we are #1 podcast in self-publishing in all of Canada, and we're working on all the rest of the areas too. But So graphic design, if you need graphic design, if you need formatting, and if you want to barter, I can't stress this enough. If you have some sort of camping device that you would be willing to let us use, or maybe you'd want to loan us your truck and we'll pull around your fifth wheel. We'll bring it back, I promise. And we're really good at fixing stuff. So even if our dogs chewed up all the corners on all your couches and cupboards and, I don't know, and the propane tank exploded, we'll fix it.
I think we're done.
We will take care of it, I
for this week.
But we got some places to go, and we are open to bartering. And we've got a lot of skills. I'm telling you, we could do your marketing. We could run your election campaign. We could take care of your kids. We'll babysit. We'll pet sit for you. I don't care. Whatever you need, man. Let's barter, because there's stuff like, instead of putting a price tag on it, let's barter all of our valuable things, and we'll please send us an RV. Please. I'm going to write a song.
That's going to be the title of this episode.
Well, the new song mentions Victoria in Vancouver West, and I'm hoping that we can set up, because this worked for the Navigators. They wrote a song about Port Saskatchewan and got invited to play in Port Saskatchewan. Is it
Fort Saskatchewan, sorry. So I'm figuring it's just a matter of time before Victoria, BC or Vancouver West get in touch with us and say, hey, do you want to come out? And I mean, that would really serve my purposes a lot. But I think if I write a song about maybe RV life or something along that line, I think that would increase our chances. So see, these are the ideas that come out when we're having fun. Let's make it work. Let's make it happen.
Right? So I don't have anything in mind. I don't have a melody, but this is what I'm going to manifest. And let's see how long it takes. What's today? This podcast is going to come out on the 17th of September.
Yep, 17th.
And so let's see how long it takes for Vickie to manifest an RV based on a song. Well, first, let's get the song. Let's see how long it takes to get the song, and then see how long it takes to get an RV after that. Or an invite out to play in Victoria, BC. Victoria in Victoria? I mean, come on. That'd be amazing.
All right, that's enough for this week. I'm right there with you. I'm right behind you.
MC in BC, Mulberry Creek in BC. Victoria from Mulberry Creek in Victoria, BC. I mean, there's so many marketing opportunities there. Like, think of the possibilities. It's going to be amazing.
Just think of them.
Just think about it. Anyway, that's our cue from our Beagle.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. We love you guys, and stay in touch. Keep writing.
I'm Josh Morgan.
I'm Vickie Morgan. See ya.
See you next week.